When most people think about storytelling, they think about showmanship. A speaker on a stage telling a 6-minute story from their own life with dramatic pauses and a big emotional moment at the end. That's what gets sold in books, in courses, on social media. That's the image. But the reality of business communication is very different. In a real business setting, a meeting room with 5 or 10 people, a client pitch, an internal presentation to your leadership team, that kind of storytelling simply doesn't fit. It feels out of place. It feels like the presenter is performing instead of communicating. And honestly, it usually makes the audience uncomfortable. So in a business setting, storytelling has to take a different form. And there are really only 2 formats that actually work. The first one is the short case study told as an interesting anecdote, which is what I covered in my previous video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out after this one. The second one is using a storytelling structure to organize your whole message. Specifically, the structure that moves from a problem to a solution. And that's what we're going to talk about today. These 2 methods, the case study as an anecdote and the problem to solution structure, are the 2 best approaches to business presentations and business storytelling. Everything else is mostly noise. So how does this second method actually work? Let me break it down. The whole structure of business storytelling, reduced to its essence, has 4 parts. There's a hero, someone the audience can identify with and root for. There's an enemy, which in a business setting simply means a problem standing in the hero's way. There's a help from the outside, which is the solution. And there's a goal, the destination where the hero finally arrives. That's it, 4 parts. Now, here's the part that's going to feel uncomfortable. In almost every business presentation I've ever consulted on, one of those 4 elements is missing. And it's almost always the same one. Can you guess which? It's the enemy. I work a lot with startup founders preparing investor pitches. And the most common mistake I see is that they start their presentation by talking about their product. From minute 1, this is what we build, this is how it works, these are the features. That's a mistake, because if you map that onto our 4-part structure, what is the product? It's not the hero. The product is the help from the outside. It's the solution. And if you start the story with the solution, it's like watching a movie that begins after the conflict has already been resolved. There's no tension, there's no reason to care. Think about it for a second. We love the story of David and Goliath, not because David is impressive on his own, but because Goliath is enormous and terrifying. We love Luke Skywalker because Darth Vader is so much more powerful than him. We love Shrek because on paper, an ugly ogre marrying a princess simply shouldn't happen. The stronger the enemy, the more engaging the fight, and the greater the glory when the hero finally wins. So when you're building a business presentation, don't just name the problem and move on. Show that the problem is real, show that it's painful, show that it has resisted other attempts to fix it. Make it the Goliath. Then and only then, bring in your solution. Let me show you what this looks like at the highest level. The best business presentation ever recorded, and I'm not exaggerating, ask any presentation coach in the world, was given by Steve Jobs in 2007 when he introduced the very first iPhone. And the structure he used was exactly the one we just talked about. Problem first, solution second. I want you to watch about 1.5 minutes of that keynote in a moment. But before you do, pay attention to one thing. Jobs does not start by showing the iPhone. He starts by talking about the enemy, the smartphones that already existed at the time. He spends real time describing what was wrong with them, building the problem up before he ever mentions his solution. Watch how he does it.
Here's 4 smartphones, right? Motorola Q, the BlackBerry, Palm Treo, Nokia E62, the usual suspects. And what's wrong with their user interfaces? Well, the problem with them is really sort of in the bottom 40 there. It's this stuff right here. They all have these keyboards that are there whether you need them or not to be there. And they all have these control buttons that are fixed in plastic and are the same for every application. Well, every application wants a slightly different user interface, a slightly optimized set of buttons just for it. And what happens if you think of a great idea 6 months from now? You can't run around and add a button to these things. They're already shipped. So what do? It doesn't work because the buttons and the controls can't change. They can't change for each application, and they can't change down the road if you think of another great idea you want to add to this product. Well, how do you solve this? It turns out we have solved it. We solved it in computers 20 years ago. We solved it with a bitmap screen that could display anything we want, put any user interface up, and a pointing device. We solved it with the mouse, right? We solved this problem. So how are we going to take this to a mobile device? Well, what we're going to do is get rid of all these buttons and just make a giant screen. A giant screen.
That's it.
Now,
problem
how are
first,
we gonna communicate
solution
this? We don't wanna
second.
carry around a
And the
mouse.
moment he finally showed the iPhone, the audience was already convinced something had to change. He didn't have to sell them on the iPhone. He had sold them on the need for something new before the iPhone ever appeared on a screen. That single presentation rewrote the rules of business communication. Before 2007, the textbook approach was list the features, then translate them into benefits. After 2007, the new textbook became start with the problem, then introduce the solution. So how do you apply this in your own work? Let me give you a few quick examples. Imagine you have to walk into a meeting with your boss and ask for a bigger marketing budget. The wrong way to do it is to start with the ask. Hey, I need 15% more budget this quarter. Your boss immediately feels resistance. Why? What for? What's this coming from? The right way is to start with the enemy. 3 months ago, a new competitor entered our market with an aggressive campaign. Our sales dropped quarter over quarter for the first time in years. We can't match their ad spend, and honestly, I don't think we should try. Now your boss is leaning in. Now they want to know what you're going to do about it, and only then you walk them through your plan. Another example. Let's say you have to introduce a new internal policy, maybe a new cybersecurity standard. The instinct is to start by explaining the policy. Don't. Start with the problem. For example, over the last 3 years, our company has been hit by phishing attacks 14 times. 2 of them succeeded. We've already lost serious money, and attempts are getting more sophisticated every quarter. Now your team is paying attention. Now they understand why a new policy is even on the table. Then, and only then, you walk them through what the new policy actually involves. One more example. Let's say you're pitching a new product idea internally. Before you open your slides, ask yourself one question. What problem does this idea actually solve? Maybe it's that your sales team is wasting hours every week on a manual task. Maybe it's that your customers are abandoning your checkout at a specific point. Whatever it is, start there. Dramatize it a little. Show the cost of doing nothing. And then, when the room is already nodding along, introduce your idea as the solution to a problem they already agreed exists. This is the most effective form of persuasion you can use in a business setting. And the reason it works is that it operates in 2 phases. In the first phase, your audience agrees with you that a problem exists and that something has to be done about it. In the second phase, they are already open to hearing about new options. So when you finally present your solution, you're not pushing against resistance anymore. You're meeting them where they already are. And that's the whole game. So to sum it all up, business storytelling has two phases. The first one is a short, sharp anecdote dropped into your presentation as evidence. That's the video I made last time. The second one, the one we covered today, is bigger. It's the structure of the entire presentation. Problem, then solution, enemy, then rescue, tension, then release. You don't need to be a great storyteller to use it. You just need to resist the urge to start with your solution. And here's the bigger point I want you to take from all of this. Storytelling in business is not showmanship. You don't have to be an extrovert. You don't have to be charismatic on stage. You don't have to tell long emotional stories from your own life. None of this is required. What is required is two things. Either you use a proven structure, like the one we covered today, problem to solution, or you have a great case study that you shape into a short, interesting anecdote, the way we talked about in the previous video. And the best business presenters, they combine both. They use the structure to organize the whole presentation, and they drop in case studies as anecdotes along the way to make it credible and memorable. That's exactly what I teach in my business storytelling workshops. So if you want better presentations, data storytelling, and clearer communication in your team or across your organization, get in touch. Let's talk about corporate training that actually works. And of course, if this video was useful, like, subscribe, and drop a comment. I really love reading what you think about this stuff. See you next time.